Hey friend, Church D coming at you once again. Thank you for tuning into What Does It Take to Win. I hope you're having a good week so far. If not, hopefully this episode makes it a little bit better for you. Before we get started, I'd like to give you an opportunity to connect with me. So be sure to click the link in the description and that'll take you to all of my content. It's actually going to take you to a link tree and there we'll be able to connect. I offer private piano lessons, so I did create a course. It's a 7-week course that you can access, and then we'll meet weekly. And by the end of 7 weeks, you'll be a better piano player. You can also access my entire catalog of music that's been created. My most recent single that I put out entitled Don't Quit, you can grab that. My most recent album entitled Something's Missing. You can also get the Big Reveal EP, my single entitled The Vision, and my very first album that I put out called The Cactus Bare Minimum 2.0. I also produce and upload instrumentals very frequently. Right now I'm up to, I'd say, a little bit over 140. So if you need beats, let's say you're a rapper, a singer, or you're a content creator, a videographer, a podcaster like myself, if you have like a cooking channel, whatever it may be, and you need some instrumentals to put to that, just click the link in the description where it says lease beats or get beats, and you'll have access to all of the instrumentals that have been created. And if you'd like to get exclusive rights to it, so let's say you don't want to lease them, you don't want anybody else to have them in their video, you just want to offer yourself, you can go ahead and just reach out to me and then we can talk about exclusive pricing and we'll go from there. Also, if you'd like some production done, as you know, I make beats, but I also do full-on production. So let's say if you have a song that you'd like to bring to life, or you have a whole project that you'd like to put out, feel free to reach out to me. There's a section where you can book your appointment, and you can book whatever service you'd like from me. So let's say you want me to just do maybe piano tracks, or if you want me to do full-on music production, drum programming, etc. I got you covered. So you can just go ahead and book your appointment, again, by clicking the link in the description, and I'll be happy to help out on your project. You'll be able to, view all of my rates and whatnot. And if it fits your budget, of course, feel free and we'll get to work. So that's it for now for the little introduction / promo. Let's jump right into the topic of the hour. So if you've been following my podcast for the last 4 years, isn't that crazy? 4 years I've been doing this. If you've been following my podcast for the last 4 years, you'll know that I put out an earlier episode entitled It's a Mindset. Well, I sort of want to revisit that idea. So the title of this episode is It's a Mindset Part 2. I wanted to explore this a little bit more deeply because, I felt as though people aren't fully aware of how powerful the mind is. And how powerful our thinking is. So let's dive right in. I have 3 points to consider. And the first point is, yes, you can. The second point is that you should tell yourself who's boss. And the third and final point is that you're better than you think, so believe it. So, did you know that you can actually think yourself into what or where you want to be? That sounds kind of scary and a little creepy, right? It's almost like a magical thing that kind of happens, where your thoughts absolutely dictate where you want to be or, what you want to be. I was reading an article from Forbes. I think it came out in like 2015 or 2016, something along those lines. And I liked, this quote that I saw in the article. And so I'm going to read it to you. It says, your thoughts are a catalyst for self-perpetuating cycles. What you think directly influences how you feel and how you behave. So for example, if you think you're a failure, you'll feel like a failure, then more than likely you'll act like a failure. But if you think you're a winner, then you're going to begin to feel like a winner, and then you'll start to act like a winner. So when I read about that, I was just like, yep, that's absolutely true. I can definitely confirm that it's a mindset that really puts you where you would like to be. And, you know, as mentioned earlier, I did an episode 4 years ago entitled It's a Mindset. And so basically in that episode, if you want to go back and get a quick refresher, I was explaining how it's our minds that dictate our own success. This time around, I want to focus on the power of training our minds. It's pretty easy to say, I'm going to think this way, but it becomes a little bit more difficult to actually do it. So yeah, I just wanted to focus on, you know, the power of training our minds and really holding our thoughts captive. So let's start with the first point, which basically says, yes, you can. Pretty much, you have to push fear aside and tell yourself that you can. If you have an idea, a dream, a vision that you'd want to see come to pass, tell yourself that you can do it. It's pretty easy to be fearful and not even try. In fact, I did another episode dealing with fear and, you know, the effects it has on us. So you can go ahead and check that one out if you'd like a quick refresher on it and some more context. But sometimes we get placed into situations that we believe we're not good enough for. You know, we might believe we're underqualified, but the whole time we're actually overqualified for this, you know, situation. There have been many times in which I was asked to be a part of a band. You know, of course, I'm going to use myself and music because why not? There's been many times I've been, you know, asked to be a part of a band or a musical situation, we'll call it that I felt I was not quite qualified enough for. But instead of believing I was unqualified, I just told myself, you know what, you could do it. And I just worked on it, you know, so whether it was just learning the parts or making charts to read, you know, I practiced the music and I was really studying as much as I could. And come to find out, when it was time for the first rehearsal, I noticed that I was a little bit more prepared than anticipated. Actually, a little bit more prepared than some of the other bandmates who will remain nameless, of course. This is a while ago, so I don't even think they remember. But yeah, you know, I worked on it. You know, I believed that I could. I had to push my fear aside. And I told myself that, yes, I absolutely can. So that's it for point number one. You know, we're just going to fly through this. I'm not going to keep you guys long on this episode. I just want to get to the point so you can really apply this to your lives. Point number two, tell yourself who's boss. Interesting, right? Shouldn't you already be boss? Well, sometimes we don't operate as the boss. We allow our emotions to be boss. And I'm here to tell you that you're in control of yourself and you're in control of your emotions, not the other way around. Your feelings and your emotions are not in control of you. Sometimes we get in our feelings and that could get the best of us. But the good news is that we're actually the ones who have power over the way we feel, especially about ourselves. You know, you have to train your mind to not get wrapped up so quickly in your emotions. Here's an example. I'll use myself again. This one, I was driving. So I was driving not too long ago, maybe a few days ago, maybe a week ago. I don't know. I can't really keep track with time these days. That's another story. Super busy. So I was driving not too long ago. And there was a point where the two lanes were merging into one. Now, if you're from the East Coast, you know how that goes. People can't seem to merge without stopping and causing traffic. So I had to get over. So as I was trying to get over, I noticed that there was a woman who made it her business. She made it her point to try to block me from merging over into that one lane. And I'm just like, I'm not even going to look at her. And I had my window down. So this fool, yes, she's a fool. I'm going to call her that. I have permission to say fool. This fool, she took it a step even further to shout with her window down, "No, you're not getting over. No, you're not getting over." Now, immediately, my emotions were telling me to handle that in a way that I cannot describe on this episode because, yeah. Let's just say that it would have been, you know, less than courteous. So as I continued driving, I have all these thoughts racing through my mind. Like, okay, I'm going to handle this. This woman had no right to do that. She doesn't even know me. I don't know her. I don't know why she took it upon herself to, be disrespectful. And then, my thoughts just began to start spiraling. But I decided to reel it back in and to tell myself who's boss. I began to speak to my mind. I said, hey, you know what? Mind, you do not have to start feeling that way. Emotions, you do not have to start raging. I'm in control. That woman is probably battling some sort of mental illness that has gone undiagnosed. She's probably really miserable. I'm not going to let her get the upper hand on me by getting a reaction out of me. Now, I had to talk to God too, because again, even as I'm saying this to my mind, I'm just going to be real with you guys. I still wanted to get some sort of like revenge, if we'll call it that. As I'm driving, I'm like, yo, but if I just do this, I can go ahead and do that. God, what should I do? What should I do? That's another nugget in there. Again, talk to God. He's going to steer you in the right direction. But, thankfully I was able to sort of reel it back in and again, tell myself who's boss, tell my emotions who's boss, and really train my mind and say, you know what? That's not going to happen today. I'm just going to keep it pushing, let her do her thing. And yeah, eventually I cooled down. Obviously I was still kind of sitting in light to moderate traffic. So that gave me some time to sort of breathe and, really regather my thoughts. So I kept driving. I was reminded that my emotions don't run me, but rather I run them. So I let her go, and hopefully she got into a car accident later that day, Lord willing. Don't mind me. Hey, I'm still human, right? We're all human. God's still working on us all. But yeah, honestly, it's all about self-control and telling yourself and your emotions who's boss. So that's it for point number 2. Now we're going to move down to my third and final point, which is you're better than you think. So believe it. Train your mind. Tell yourself to believe that you're actually better than you think. Believe in yourself. Tell yourself that you can. Don't tell yourself that you can't. As you may know, I do my best to live a healthy lifestyle. I'll try to work out. I try to eat healthy, balanced meals. And I try my best to take supplements. I'm always going online, looking up natural ways to stay healthy and get energy and get as many nutrients as possible. So like everybody else listening to this podcast, I too face obstacles daily. Here's a practice that I started maybe a few years back. So when I'm exercising, especially when I'm running and doing cardio, if I'm running on the track or if I'm running on the treadmill, I'd begin to speak life over myself. It started off with just thoughts at first. I'd be running and then I would think positive thoughts. I would think simple things like, you could finish this mile, or yesterday you finished the mile in 8 minutes. Today you're going to do it in 7:50. Tomorrow you're going to finish it in 7:30, and so on. Just, minimal things like that. And I recognized that I would start to get better at, beating my personal goals and personal records when it comes to running and completing a mile or doing 2 miles, etc. So then I'd begin to speak life over myself. It started off with just the thoughts, but then I started to say this out loud. So I began to say things to myself like, yes, I can. I won't fail. I'm a winner. I'm brilliant. I'm going to be successful, and so on. I'm sure I'm not the first one to do this, and I'm definitely not the only one who does this, but I found it to be beneficial. So I thought I'd share that, So now when I attack my obstacles, I already believe that I've overcome them. It's sort of like going in there with a winner's mentality. Have you ever, for those who play basketball, all my hoopers who are out there, have you ever had to play a game against a team that you knew you could beat? Like you've probably blown them out by 30 or 40 points once upon a time. And so you go in there like you already won. It's like, okay, yeah, this is going to be easy win. We're just going to drop a light 50-point lead on them. And and that's it. That's how I attack my obstacles now. If somebody puts something before me, if they present me with something that might be a challenge, I'm going in there saying, okay, I've already defeated this obstacle. I've already won it. So now I'm just going to have to develop a strategy and just let that come into play. But it's already defeated. So that's going to be my mindset until It actually happens in real life, just outside of my mind. And that is our third and final point. So I hope that wasn't too long. I hope, you were able to get what you could from, these 3 points. So as always, I'd like to do a quick recap of the 3 points. So the first point is, yes, you can. Push that fear aside and tell yourself that you can. Second point is, tell yourself who's boss. Remember, you're in control of yourself, not your emotions, not your feelings, not that person who cut you off on the highway. And last but not least, you're better than you think. So believe it. Believe in yourself. Tell yourself you can. Don't tell yourself that you can't. And you surely will. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope it blessed you and I hope it encouraged you. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and to share this. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with people you don't even like. Share it with that person who keeps bothering you for advice. I got you covered. And lastly, if you'd like to connect with me, just click the link in the description for all of my content. I have some great things in store for you. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.